Hello everyone, this is Iqbal of mikbonsai, and today you're going to see something very different, and it has come about as a result of my chats with Johan of Bonsai Talk in Sweden, discussing bonsai, and we decided to record these chats, and that's what you're about to see.
What have you been doing today, Iqbal?
Today, Johan, I took two cats to the vet. One is my own cat, and the second cat I foster.
So are you like a cat person or a dog person? What do you...
Yeah, I'm a cat person. I've always had cats,
Yeah.
and usually two, but this time I've got three. The third one adopted me.
If the cats are outside, they won't go scratching in the substrate or the soil, right? Or taking a pee in the substrate.
I have some big trees, and they sit on the soil next to the tree, but they never dig. They haven't caused any damage to the trees. And sometimes they nibble on the leaves, but there are so
Yeah.
many trees, it doesn't make any difference.
Exactly. I have some neighbor's cat that's running around here. I always like check on him because I don't want him to, do his thing in the bonsais at the floor level, at the grass level. But he's been nice so far. He's been good. So yeah. Okay. So how was spring? Tell me about spring in the UK. Is it good?
Spring it's been a bit strange. It was cold and then it got very warm, and then it got cold again. The sun comes out and it gets warm and you're sweating, and then in the evening, when the moment the sun goes down, it's cold again.
Yeah.
So it's very peculiar weather.
Temperatures has been like this, up and down. So every single night, almost for 2 weeks, I have to carry my trees into the garage because of -degrees. And it's very exhausting because they're heavy. I got like heavy pots to carry myself, and then I have to pick them out before I go to work. So, but I mean, I have so much Yamadori this year, so I have to do it. I have to make sure those fragile roots, the newly transplanted roots, don't get hurt in the process. So I know that you have a lot of trees. You have more trees than I do. I mean, you have hundreds of trees. And how demanding is that? How much of your time is that taking?
Johan, everybody thinks that having a lot of trees is a chore, would be a lot of work, and I don't see it that way. I love what I do. I enjoy bonsai, and for me, it is very natural to get up at 6:30 in the morning to water my trees. A lot of my time is spent working on the trees. In the summer months, particularly, I can spend anything up to 10 to 12 hours a day, meditating. It slows everything down, and generally, I find it very relaxing.
What you're saying is that when you're with your trees, when you're working, you're dedicating all your focus and all your time on the trees.
Absolutely. What happens is everything slows down. Bonsai requires patience, and having many trees is a big plus, because I have seen people with a few trees and they overwork the trees. Having more trees, you have to spread your time thinly, so you can never overwork a tree. So that's a big plus. I know you live in Sweden. I've never been to Sweden, but the impression I have, it's in winter it's very, very harsh, and in summer it can be very hot. So tell me, how is bonsai in Sweden?
One of the issues that we have is that it's really hard for us to enjoy tropical and subtropical trees, just because of the things that you mentioned. Differences in winter and summer. So temperate trees work really good here. We have some hardy deciduous species. So many of us are actually digging the trees a place in the garden and planting them in the garden to protect the root system, rather than to have them in pots open in the air, because it's so cold. You always look for ways to keep the temperature stable even in wintertime. I don't want too dry or too wet winters. I like to keep it stable. All right. Another thing that I want to talk about is somewhat a controversially subject, and that is bonsai lessons. Now, is it worth taking bonsai lessons? Because I know they can be pretty expensive. What do you think about that?
I think there are various aspects to this question. I think it's important to have bonsai lessons. When I first started, they come to me with their trees. They have done a repot. It's very badly done. They have attempted, but they've realized that something is not right. And so that is something very, very simple. Some people don't even know how to prepare a pot. But again, it doesn't have to be expensive. If you have one-to-one, yes, it can be expensive. But if you go in a group where they have groups of 6 or 8, and there are various people running these type of classes here in the UK. One of the things they do, they have beginners classes, intermediate, advanced, and all that. And sometimes I go along to refresh my skills, just to see that I am up to speed, and is there anything I should need to pick up. So lessons are important. But having said that, what I'm also finding is that the bonsai teachers will always keep something back. At first, I couldn't figure it out, but then the penny dropped. They do not want the students to become as good or better than them.
They're not telling everything. They are saving some parts, or even maybe they don't even want to talk about them.
That is true. In fact, I have had situations where I had lessons. Later on, I found out that, I haven't been shown or told why certain things are done in a certain way. It's not just one place, but I've had lessons from a number of people. And that has been my conclusion, because I've been doing it for about 6 years now. And what I wasn't told, accidentally revealed by a commentator who was commenting on the work this teacher was doing in a video.
Okay.
And I was shocked at that discovery. It wasn't explained to me why we are doing this.
If we take a demonstration for like an example, I mean, many demonstrations can be somewhat misleading, right? Because they're all about styling, repotting, and clipping and trimming, and all those things in a short amount of time. And that's not good for bonsai trees to withstand that treatment. It's a little bit misleading sometimes, if you know what I mean.
It's artificial. It's not real, because in real life you don't have that. But unfortunately, times are changing, and people expect to see something. They want to see a result. Tell me, how did you start in bonsai?
I actually started because a friend of mine ordered some Chinese elms, actually from the UK. It was crazy because I think he ordered 3 or 4 trees, and he brought them home, and they were actually big, It was not these small trees that you get from a gift shop or anything like that. It gave me a very strong first impression. So I instantly felt that I'm hooked on this. So my friend, his interests were running in like sand through his hands, through his fingers. It was just He was just hyped and stoked for the first months, while my interests were going up more. I want to know everything about this. So I started collecting trees. I started to read a lot of magazines about bonsai. I started to look through every YouTube channel there is. I read Bonsai Techniques by John, for example. All the books, I felt like I want to commit to this. I want to do this. Unfortunately, that elm does not live today. I asked a lot of questions, like people must think I was mad or something, but I keep asking these enthusiasts, these half professional guys, like all over the world, and I bother them with questions all the time, you know. But I learned so much, and I think it's very important to keep asking, keep being interested in the subject and in the hobby all the time.
Well, you're in good company. That's my first two trees were Chinese elms. So coming back to you starting in bonsai, so your first tree, you was collected tree or was that Chinese elm just like your friend?
It was a Chinese elm in a blue pot, you know, with the S curve, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but it had good nebari, actually, really nice nebari. If my memory is not failing me here, that was the first acquaintance with bonsai for me. Yeah. Let's say I were new to bonsai, and you had to give me 3 good tips. What would you tell me?
There are so many good tips, Johan, but I will stick to three, as you asked me for three. The top three, one is never neglect watering your bonsai. It's in a small pot, and when it gets very hot, you may have to water it twice or 3 times a day. So that's tip number one. Number two is the location. Find out, does it prefer full sun? Does it prefer semi-shade? Does it prefer complete shade? Or if it comes from the tropics, is it an indoor one because it's cold outside? So it has to be in the right location. And if it's an indoor one, then make sure it gets plenty of light.
Mm.
And the third thing is fertilize the tree between sort of April through to the end of September, possibly October. The pot has very little organic matter, and in some instances, no organic matter, and is totally dependent on what we feed it with.
Very good.
Johan, how many trees do you have?
Ooh, how many trees do I have? I think I got about 42 or 45, something like that now.
That's a fair number of trees.
You have more.
Okay. But that's still a lot of trees. And also, I understand a lot of them are tropical and semi-tropical trees growing inside. Now, tell me more about them and how does that work in Sweden?
I was thinking about finding a solution to how can I grow trees from tropical or subtropical places inside. This was a problem, of course, because I didn't get any good ramification and I didn't get any good trees. The proportion and the scale and the figure was messy, you know, so nothing were working. I mean, I knew I needed something big, right? Lot of lights, a lot of space, something to work with. So I actually bought IKEA cabinet in steel and glass. What do you say in the UK? What do you call it?
It's like a miniature greenhouse.
Yes, miniature greenhouse, you can say. But this one is rather bigger, and I think it's supposed to be outside. Anyway, I brought it inside, and I cut the back of it with my tools, and I installed fans. I started to buy lamp rigs. Got me some a lux meter that I can measure the intensity of the light, and I knew for sure at least 80,000 lux to be able to manipulate the sun, you know. 80,000 lux, 100,000 lux, that's the sunlight. So that's what I did. And I bought bougainvillea, I bought Chinese pepper tree, which I have now. I have more ficuses, and they are growing like crazy in that cabinet, in that miniature greenhouse. So that's how I did it, and that's how I'm gonna do it. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. That's great.
I have heard that you use chicken pellets as fertilizer. Is that true?
Yes, it is. Before that, I was using normal fertilizer, and then I found out a friend of mine, his trees are always winning the best in the show. And I was talking with him and about the fertilizer he uses, and he said, He was using chicken pellets. Then he said, "You have too much money and little sense, and look, I spent very little money, and look at the results I get. It smells." And I did speak to my friend to say, "It smells." I said, "Yes, but who?" It's just you, and they're outdoors. Just before the show, we removed the top layer and put moss and dress it up. When it comes back from the show, take the moss off and put the chicken pellets back on. And the other product that I use is tomato feed for my fruiting trees, and I also use seaweed from time to time, because to give the trees a bit of variety, not just one kind of as fertilizer.
So you buy like a barrel of chicken fertilizer, chicken
Yeah, yeah,
pellets?
it's about this big. It's about this big tub, and lasts a long time.
How long?
It basically, I use about three-quarters of a tub in a year,
Oh,
and this is in English money, £7.50 for all the trees I have. I have a lot of trees.
yeah, very economical.
It is.
Nice. Let's be honest, there is a lot of products, at least in my opinion, out there that's way too expensive to call themselves reasonable priced fertilizer for bonsai, if you know what I mean.
There are people out there who only want the best, and they have the money, so they don't really care, and they
Yeah.
don't even look into is there a cheaper product? They don't. Well, we've been talking for a while. During our chats, you have mentioned your use of non-organic soils. Can you explain that? Why you're using non-organic soil?
Basically, I used to have a lot of organic matter in the soil. I still do actually. I do have bark, but that's as far as I go nowadays. And the reason for this is because I want to have full control over the fertilizer part. Also for the development of the roots. They look more healthy when they grow in pure unorganic soil. The base of the roots are getting more dense and they are getting finer. So I think I can say that I have better results with unorganic, more feeder roots. It's much easier to evaluate actually how much of moist and water that's in the pot during winter. And that's the issue here in Sweden. As I said, wintertime can be really fluctuating up and down. And then I need to exactly know how much moist or water that's in the pot. Organic matter tend to keep moist longer, yeah, and it's unpredictable. So that's also one of the reasons. What is your story? Tell me more about that.
I was given bonsai seed kit as a Christmas tree present, which I couldn't do anything with at the time. About 6 years ago, I had an accident. I was laid up in bed, looked at my laptop, thinking of my life, and the seed kit crossed my mind, and I started looking at bonsai videos on YouTube, bonsai websites. 4-5 weeks down the line, I still hadn't done anything, but a lot of knowledge, picked up theory, and I then went out and bought the first bonsai tree, which was a Chinese elm, 45 centimeters. The following week, I went out and bought a second tree. And a week after that, I went out and bought, I think, about 15 or 20 starter trees. And then the penny dropped. These starter trees needed repotting, and I didn't have any pots. We needed material. So I then started to have lessons at that stage. I Googled, I found out where the lessons are. Fortunately, not very far from my house. And every Saturday, I would have lessons. And Sunday, Wojak, you see him in my YouTube videos, he and I were implementing what I had learned the day before. And in fact, Wojak, I used to take him with me to some of the lessons.
Oh.
And that is how it started in 2011.
Interesting.
Bonsai became an addiction. I had to have my daily fix. And that was a start of my involvement with bonsai, and it got more and more passionate.
Do you still have your first bonsai tree?
Sadly, no, they were sold. As you know, I trade as mikbonsai. There's a small nursery, and when people come in, they put enough money on the table. Is the answer is not no, 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 and they just keep upping the money. They are after that tree. There comes a point you think, I better let this go. I can replace it for
Yeah,
less to put it on the table.
exactly.
So those trees were sold a long time ago.
Yeah. Any emotional connection?
There are trees that I have emotional connections, and there are times when I have sold a tree, and it happened recently. Somebody bought a large ficus. I'd had it for many years, I think about nearly 6 years, and he asked the price. I told him the price, and he said, "Yeah, I'll take it." And he saw my face, and he said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "No, something is wrong." And so he was insisting. I said, "Right, okay, I tell you what. I really like this tree. I was hoping nobody would buy it."
Yeah.
And but it's okay. He said, "Well, if you feel that way, I won't take it." I said, "No, no, no. You must take it." It shows on my face that and
Something
people can,
special. Yeah.
yeah, something special. Right. We all make mistakes when we start, and I know a lot of people who have done the same. Now, tell me the biggest mistake you have made since you started bonsai.
I did something unfortunate actually like 7 or 6 months ago, and that was a big fertilizing accident. I was in a rush. It was early morning. I was like half asleep, half awake, and I was a little bit stressed out. And I knew that I had to water my trees that I have inside in the cabinet, the indoor built system. And it was a Chinese ligustrum, Porta Afra, Jade, and something more which I cannot remember now. Anyhow, what happened was that I had way too much chemical fertilizer in the watering can. A whole day went. When I came home and I looked at them, they were like droopy, hanging down, and I was thinking, "Oh, what happened? What happened here? I did everything right." But then it hit me like lightning from a blue sky that, oh man, I fertilized too much. So yeah, that actually killed the ligustrum. It killed it. The jade I could save with rhizotonic and flushing the pot. So I just flushed it with water over and over again, perhaps 15 times, 20 times. Then I had rhizotonic and I put it in a plastic bag. But the ligustrum, I could not save it. It just it died, and that's a big mistake that I've done recently. Uh, how does your family and your friends and neighbors react to your lifestyle? What are they saying to you?
Well, let's start with family first. Some of my family, they have got into bonsai, and they have it from one to about three, four trees. And some, they can't quite understand what the fuss is about. Turning to friends, same thing there. Some have, again, one or two trees, some a few more, and others, again, can't understand. Neighbors, it's a slightly different story. And then other neighbors, they've got a few bonsai trees, and sometimes we talk about gardening and the competition, and the people say, "Oh, you will win hands down." But I said, "No, no, no. I have another neighbor. He's a very good gardener too. But I just happen to have a lot of bonsai trees." Quite a mixed reaction.
Yeah,
So it's not as so straightforward. It's also, I don't spend too much time explaining to people. People can get bored. People who are not
yeah,
interested. I don't
I
want to
agree.
convert anyone to bonsai. If they like it, great. If they don't, that's okay.
I think it's important to not talk about the, or at least not to start to talk about how much dedication and time and patience you must have to actually do bonsai. It's better to just talk about the trees or how you got into it, or
Yeah. When people are coming to the house, I make sure I clean up the pot, polish up the pot, tidy the tree up, bring it in and put it very discreetly. It's like the tree over there,
Yeah.
very discreetly in one corner. And the reaction I've had, friends walk in, you have bonsai? Yes. And then all evening they want to talk about bonsai trees. And these are the people who then go on to purchase bonsai trees and get involved with bonsai. And there are some who wouldn't even notice it there. I have heard rumors that something big is happening this summer in Sweden and Scandinavia. So would you like to tell us what is going on?
Yes, Iqbal, I would like to tell you what's going on. Let's start to talk about Sweden just shortly. Sweden is it's a wide and long country. Most of all, it's very long. That makes the distances between north, south, east, and west very big. That's a big problem. In the UK, for example, you have a lot of clubs. We have like one society with many active members. And we have a lot of people in Sweden that love bonsai and horticulture and want to do it. But the distances are so big. So that's a logistical problem for us. But as a matter of fact, there might be some kind of event happening this summer in Sweden that will be big for bonsai in Sweden, and that will put bonsai on the map in Sweden. I can't tell you everything because I don't think I'm supposed to do that, but we are heading in the right direction. Something is finally happening for Sweden, and it's on a national level. The whole universal bonsai community that's actually going to be involved in this particular event. That's what I can tell you, if that was helpful.
It is. That's excellent. Something to look forward to this summer.
Something to look forward to. It's very exciting news. It's a little secret, but it's going to be exciting. I can tell you that.
Very refreshing to be able to discuss things in two different countries with two enthusiasts coming together.
Yeah, it's so nice to sit and face to face and talk to each other like this, because there's a lot of information and a lot of thoughts and questions that is very useful to us to actually share amongst each other.
Right, folks. We're wrapping things up, and we are going to say goodbye. And it's goodbye from me and goodbye from him.
Yes, it's goodbye from him, and it's also goodbye from me. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Until next time.
Well, that was Bonsai Chat between two bonsai enthusiasts in two different countries. And it happened as a result of us talking over a number of weeks. And if you like that and would like to see more of these chats, then please leave a comment, and also any specific topics you'd like us to cover. And if you haven't visited Johan's channel, the link is in the description below, and I'd like you to hit that link after you finish this video and head over to his channel and check him out. Until next time, this is Iqbal Khan for mikbonsai in West London. And to show me some affection, smash that subscribe button and hit that bell, and you will receive notifications of future uploads. And now for the afterthought. Why did the turkey cross the road? Because it was a chicken's day off. You dig? It's the way I tell 'em.